Welcome to part 1 of the Automatic Supplies Fulfillment video guide. Automatic Supplies Fulfillment is a straightforward, easy-to-use program with the sole purpose of collecting device alerts at your end-user locations, and then validating and processing the alerts into supply orders that can be delivered to a vendor. This video will explain the functionality of the reseller portion of the Automatic Supplies Fulfillment portal during the assessment phase. If you signed up for the ASF program, the reseller contact will receive an email with the login credentials for the link portal. Use the URL found in the email to access the link portal login page and click Login to enter the username and password. Once you are logged in, the link portal will open the reseller menu. The Add Update Customer menu is the main function of the link reseller portal and allows the reseller to enter new customers and maintain the vital customer information needed for the ASF program. Whether you are adding your first customer to the system or adding additional ones, the first action to activate a new customer will be to enter the customer information, which can be done by clicking the Add Update Customer menu. This begins the assessment phase of the ASF program, where you will be setting up your end-user customer. Step 1 of the assessment phase is the Company Information section. Here you will input the company name of your end user, as well as selecting the supplies category for that customer. Only one supply category is mandatory in this phase. However, you have the option to select a secondary and third supply category as well. The checkbox beside contract will activate the ASF program, so do not click this button yet. We will come back to this in part 2 of the Automatic Supplies Fulfillment video guide, which takes place after the DCA has been installed and the devices have been reviewed to determine which devices you wish to manage on the ASF program. Once the mandatory information is input, proceed to Step 2. Step 2 of the assessment phase is the shipping address information. This is where you will input your end user's shipping information. While you have the option to set up multiple shipping addresses later, you are only required to enter the primary default shipping address for your end customer. Input the mandatory fields and proceed to Step 3. Step 3, or the Fleet Manager section, is the final stage of the assessment phase. Here you will determine the individual at the end user location who will be designated as Fleet Manager. The Fleet Manager will receive an email with a request to install the Data Collection Agent, as well as a separate email with login credentials for the Link Customer Portal. The Fleet Manager is also able to create users and view devices, as well as supply orders, including the tracking information in the Customer Portal. Once the mandatory information has been input, click the Save icon to save the customer information and trigger the emails to the Fleet Manager. At this point, all of the mandatory customer information has been input to create your end user. While you wait for your Fleet Manager to install the DCA, you can enter additional information by clicking on the search icon in the Add Update Customer menu. Simply select the customer name from the drop-down menu and click Search to update an existing customer. Additional portal setup is the first optional setup section, which provides you with more options to consider. The first option within the additional portal setup is to choose whether or not you wish to provide the end user customer with the ability to add or update address information. It is important to note that the address information is where the supply will be shipped, so any errors can affect whether or not an order is received. Option 2 is choosing whether or not the end customer can manage devices, which, if selected, gives the customer the ability to decide which devices they would like to have on the ASF program. Option 3, Consolidation on Address Level, will take all of the supply requests for a day per shipping address and consolidate into one order, saving on shipping costs. It is important to note that in Step 2, the Use This Address as Shipped To address for all orders toggle will override consolidation by Shipped To address in this step. Finally, you have the option to hold orders for release. This option will collect all of the orders in the portal and will not release the order to be shipped until the order has been released manually in the portal. The next steps in the optional setup sections are the ability to add additional customers for administration purposes. Only the Fleet Manager is mandatory for the end user. However, you can add additional users with login privileges if necessary. The Maintain DCA tab helps you manage the DCA activation email in case the Fleet Manager has not received the email during the setup process. If multiple DCA links are valid, a list will be displayed here. Selecting the right entry and clicking Resend Email will send a new email to the Fleet Manager's email address. Please note, if a DCA has already been activated, the Resend Email option will not appear. You also have the ability to create a new DCA, depending on the size of the network, or if there are multiple networks, you may need more than one. The final option is to set customer thresholds. The ASF program understands that each supply will not deplete at the same interval. This is why we have provided the ability to specify by supply the percentage remaining to trigger a supply order. You have the ability to further refine thresholds by device once the DCA has been activated. And that's it, you're done. Remember, steps 1 to 3 are mandatory to get the system set up. All the other options are just optional. Once you are happy with the information you have input, click Save to ensure your progress is kept. And that's it for the assessment phase. Part 2 of the Automatic Supplies Fulfillment video guide will guide you through the contract portion of the ASF program, which begins when your end user DCA has been installed.